Good day. Welcome to my OPV 222 Cellfilm assignment. I chose to do the assignment in the format of a PowerPoint presentation and then do a voice recording over that. As you can see in this slide, I have divided the PowerPoint presentation into four sections. The first one is just an introduction about myself, and then the second part is an introduction about the topic that I've chosen to do, and then number three and number four delve deeper into the topic that I chose to do. Alright, now that I've given some background information on the layout of my presentation and how I chose to do my assignment, I think we can delve into the actual assignment. So on this slide, you can see that I've done a bit of a about me section. So my name is Talente Mabhude, and I am a second year student at the University of Pretoria studying education. So, a fun fact about me, again, as you can see on the slide, is that I actually studied biomedicine for 2 years. And just before I got into my third year, I got a job working as a teacher's assistant. And that actually introduced me to education and made me realize that the career that I thought I wanted actually wasn't fulfilling me, and I enjoyed working with kids. So, I chose to switch to education. And now I am studying towards achieving my dream of becoming a teacher and hopefully changing children's lives and inspiring them to keep on learning. Now I'm introducing the topic that I chose to work on. The topic in question that I chose to answer was option number one, which focused on theme one, which is the asset based approach. The question also further asked how the asset based approach could be applied into classrooms in order to create supportive learning environments for students. I chose this topic because I think it's an important aspect of education, and it ensures that children are not only performing well academically, but that they are fully well taken care of. I believe that it does this by focusing on what children have, which is their assets, which is things that they know, and their talents and skills, and even the way that they think, and their families and their communities, their cultures and their traditions. I think that it acknowledges all those facets of the children as people are multifaceted, which facilitates and allows them, as I said, to not only thrive academically, which is what school is for, but also thrive wholly, mentally, emotionally, and socially as well, as they realize that they are more than just their academics. So, let's get into what is the asset based approach. In my assignment, I abbreviated it to the ABA. The asset-based approach is a methodology and an approach to learning and teaching that focuses primarily on the resources, strengths, and general abilities that a learner already has, rather than what they don't have. This approach works with what a learner has access to in order to help them achieve the best that they can. So, to summarize, instead of focusing on what they lack and what they don't understand, it rather focuses on things that they already understand and know, and then works a way around that to help them learn and understand things that they don't know. The characteristics of the asset based approach are number one, a strong belief in a learner's assets and capabilities. Learners will only be as confident as their teachers or even their community's support in them. So if they feel that they are not being strongly believed in, then they won't really have motivation or drive to want to achieve greater. Number two, collaboration and the encouragement of grassroots level involvement. This just ties into the point I made in number one, that they are only as strong as the support system around them. And if they feel that the support system is not strong enough, or in fact that it doesn't even believe in them, then they are not going to want to believe in themselves. Number four, the fourth characteristic is working as best as you can with what is present and readily available. This can tie into both the learner and the teacher in the sense that you shouldn't frustrate yourself with what you don't have. Rather, focus on what you have and focus on how you can use that to bridge the gap of what you don't have. And the last characteristic is a deep focus on forging relationships and building reliable and helpful networks amongst the collaborators that ensure the success of a learner. A teacher is never only working with the learner alone. Each learner has a support system. whether that be their parents or their family, their friends, their communities, even their religions or traditions and cultures. So, what this means is that as a teacher, you need to forge relationships with those support systems so that the learner can be supported outside of the classroom as well. And it also increases the assets that they do have. How to integrate the asset based approach in the classroom. Number one, this can be done by strength based teaching methods. Teachers should place special emphasis on working with students to reach greater potential by highlighting their talents and strengths. These strengths can range from academic gifts to even their cultures, traditions, and communities. Number two, building better and stronger relationships with learners. This allows for the teacher to better understand their students and use the relationship built to teach them, as the learners will be more receptive to listening and ultimately learning. This eventually becomes a strength for both the learners as well as the teacher, as a healthy relationship will result in learners being more conducive in the classroom. And finally, collaboration amongst fellow industry peers. Teachers should rely on their colleagues for assistance so that they continuously improve their skills and better the learning environment for everyone, their learners and themselves. Their colleagues can provide feedback objectively, which will give which will give teachers an idea of how to improve. This can be integrated in the classroom because a colleague will give an objective point of view, and what that means is that because your colleague is not the one teaching your classroom or doesn't know your learners as much, they can better review you, and this feedback that they give you will allow you to become a better teacher and to also work with your learners assets a bit more. Alright, now let's talk about the key aspects of the asset-based approach. We'll start from left to right. Number one is relationship building. In order for collaboration and community engagement to happen, relationships need to be formed between teachers, their learners, and their learners' communities. This allows for maximum support for the learners as well as the teacher. Number two, the place or the environment. The asset-based approach is all about utilizing the resources you already have around you to the best of your abilities. However, a big part of this is acknowledging that each environment has different assets and resources, so not all environments are the same. And even though you might build relationships and collaborate with fellow peers, their environment is not the same as yours. Therefore, you won't have the same resources and assets. Number three, collaboration. This takes place once relationships are formed and even leads to community engagement. Now moving on to the right. Teacher training. Due to the fact that the asset-based approach is a methodology, teachers need to be well trained on how to apply it in their teaching and also how to be adaptable. If they find that maybe it doesn't work, they need to find ways of how to adapt. Because of this, they need to be trained. Um, a focus on strengths. Teachers need to constantly be focused on their learners' capabilities and talents. This is a key aspect of the asset-based approach methodology. And lastly, community engagement, which is basically a combination of relationship building and collaboration. This allows opportunities to be presented in which the resources available can be increased, which will greatly improve the education of the learners and the tools that teachers have to use at their disposal. Once again, the community can be an asset as well. And once again, this is the result of relationship building and collaboration. On this slide, we'll talk about the key conclusions that I came to whilst working on this assignment. Conclusion number one. The asset-based approach is a methodology that focuses on using the skills, knowledge, and talents that learners already have. This is essentially the opposite of the needs-based approach, which focuses on what learners need. Conclusion number two. In order to apply the asset-based approach in the classroom, teachers should work with learners and consistently highlight their strengths and talents. Teachers should also work on building strong relationships with their learners to foster a wholesome learning experience for all. And lastly, Teachers should collaborate with their colleagues to constantly better their teaching via means of objective feedback. Conclusion number 3. The key aspects of the asset-based approach are collaboration, community engagement, relationship building, focusing on strengths, and ultimately understanding not only the learner's environment but the environment that the teacher finds themselves in. And finally, to close off my presentation and my assignment, I would just like to say thank you for taking the time to watch my video and read through my slides. I hope that they were informative and that they were relevant to the topic and the subject at hand. Once again, thank you and have a great day further.